at 7 o'clock, and we'll stand for the pledge, if you please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, amendments to the agenda?
No, sir, none for me tonight.
Moving on. Let's give us, all right, so our first agenda thing is, town reps are here to talk about remote town meeting. You're on.
Page 48, want to go?
Go ahead.
Page 48 was addressed today by the House, and it was placed in all remaining stages of passage. It passed, and it's gone to the Senate. I have frequently asked questions, but I have it's a email thread, and there's a new representative that's on the Government Operations Committee with Will Senning. He's the
Secretary
of State's elections guy. So, there's been $2 million CARES Act dollars allocated to support municipalities who choose to move to the Australian ballot this year and send a ballot to all voters. The money can cover postage for that purpose, ballot printing costs, and cost for a mailing service, if you should hire somebody to handle the mailing. But it would be postage to and return postage. If the meeting dates are aligned for all of the towns across the district, ballots for school and for a town may be sent at the same mailing. The conversation you are having, this email, coordination, they hope they can lead and at least duplication of work and the risk of, least risk of exposure to everyone to the virus.
You'll get, excuse me, Bill, for interrupting, but you should get all this very soon, if you haven't already, from the Secretary of State's office.
Town clerk got anything? She actually should have been here today.
Not that I expected. I did hear they were coming, but
So the select board could vote for the 2021 meeting to put all town meeting questions on the Australian ballot. Yes, these are questions, and his answer is yes. Mail that Australian ballot to all active registered voters, yes. Hold the required informational meeting by Zoom, yes. Delay their annual meeting, the above process, to a later date, yes. Allow in-person voting on the meeting day, and possibly shorten those open polling hours. Polling places still need to be open no later than 10 and must open until 7.
so does that mean there can be a, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Does that mean that you have to do both in-person and mail votes, or can you just do mail voting?
You have to do both.
You have to do both, okay.
Right.
Just clarify.
And the question will be, school districts coordinating with 5 towns. Yeah.
Well, what was the consensus?
I was listening to the school board talked about this last night, and they voted that they wanted to have the school budget voted on the 2nd, March 2nd.
On what?
On the regular town meeting.
On the regular town meeting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that helps us in saying, and that takes care of all the towns, I don't know about their select boards and what they're going to decide and pass upon them.
Well, if you did it, you'd jive with the school anyhow.
What do you think?
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, do we have to, when do we have to make that move? I mean,
That's gonna be that's gotta happen very soon.
Well,
I would think so.
If you're gonna send them all out, you gotta have them printed.
Right.
For all registered voters, not those that call, like for the absentee ballot.
And there's money to help for that. Is that what-
Reimbursement money, you gotta pay it up front. They will
Right.
reimburse you. But there is money.
You will, I would suspect that the Senate's gonna act on this tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Don't know why they can't. And so you should hear from the I'm gonna assume you should hear from the Secretary of State by, God, maybe even the end of the week, but certainly by the first of next week. And they'll lay it all out for you, how they want you to do it, and they get the details
Is that
done.
late, Joe?
I'm sorry?
First of next week?
Yeah,
That's late, yeah. So maybe,
We're pushing the envelope, man. But it's
Yeah,
great.
well-
I'm very appreciative that they can help us with this, though. It's just a time crunch.
Now, will that be similar to like the last time they mailed out ballots? They want you to, if you're gonna vote in person, bring that ballot with you, right? I mean, there was some,
and yeah, they talked about that today, and all of the above works.
okay,
You can forget it at home, sign the affidavit, come without it, you can come with it and vote with that, or you can come with it, throw it in the trash there and get a new one and vote, so
okay.
you can do all that. At least that's what they said today. So, contamination, I don't wanna hand this paper over to you, I'll email it.
That's great. Thank you, sir.
So how long will it take? If we're gonna print the ballots enough, if we're gonna do this mailing one.
So you gotta have all the ballots printed for every resident in town that's a legal voter. And, I mean, so this has gotta start very soon, because by the time you mail them out and try to get them back, unless they can drop them in the box outside, I mean, which might help a little bit, but
We can't even print a ballot until next week, right?
Yeah, we still have a lot of time because the ballots can't be printed until at least after Thursday when we meet to sign the warning.
This Thursday or next Thursday?
Thursday in 2 days.
after tomorrow.
Okay, all right. I was thinking next week.
Yeah, it's entirely possible to get this out and get it moving. We just have to stay on top of it.
Is there any requirement of time that people have to have a ballot in hand? And
I don't think so.
It wasn't addressed today, and
What about return? Is there a return
well,
cutoff? Or is that something that the town would,
that's something that you'll have to do because for the general election, there was a cutoff, wasn't it? Yeah.
I mean, cause you gotta count them, they're gonna have to count the votes the day that they got the machine up.
Yeah.
So I mean,
probably
Do you
election
do-
day.
huh? You'd have to do a couple days ahead to have the mail-ins in here, right?
Well, if they're mail-ins, yeah, I was thinking of dropping them off, yeah, you're right.
I just think, I mean, so we'd have to have a cutoff date when the last one could come in, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
And I think that was addressed at during the last election too. There was that cutoff where if it showed up after so many days, it wasn't counted. So we'll have to do some outreach to make sure people understand they gotta get it in.
Can you get?
Excuse me, but didn't you say they could bring the ballot with them? And so if they didn't mail it in,
Right.
they could carry it over and give it to them
Unless they
there?
didn't stick to the
That's right.
Okay, so there's an alternative
Yep.
type of deal, okay.
And get with maybe even the post office and find out. I mean, it shouldn't be a big deal. You've got a slot that says Fairhaven, Benson. You know, it's not like a national election. It's a little less.
They don't send it to White River first.
Exactly.
So, you've been talking a little bit about the actual election day, but town meeting, which my understanding is the direction, it's virtual? Or
It's virtual. Wait a minute.
Well, that's something to look at.
either or is there any, I guess my question is, when you were talking about up in Montpelier, is there any discussion around whether encouraging to go virtual versus, town meeting where,
I don't remember any discussion like that, no.
Says hold the required informational meeting. That's your pre-town meeting.
right?
By Zoom, yes.
So that's what I was gonna say, because you wouldn't hit the number of people, and that might answer the question of do you need a place for that, okay. So it sounds like everyone's doing their informational meetings by Zoom.
Yeah, that's what they're recommending, right?
Right, that's,
The VLCT has provided guidance for that too.
Yeah.
The informational meeting can be done by Zoom You don't need to post a meeting place if the board decides to go that way.
How do you control, if you're gonna do everything on Zoom, how do you control your questions that you're gonna have coming in? I mean, if you have a bunch of people trying to put in a question, is there some way that they can regulate who can talk when, or?
It's, we had quite a few folks, when we were having the water bill discussion. There might have been 20 people on the Zoom meeting then. As long as I moderate it from this side, making sure people are muted, and then when they raise their hand, it went really smoothly last time. I think we can duplicate that.
And that'll be that'll actually be the town moderators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so.
That's who, Seal and Andre?
Seal, yeah.
She's tech savvy.
So in other words, we'd have the town meeting here, and everything would be on Zoom.
Yeah.
If the board wants to go in that direction, yeah.
This doesn't make any sense.
Can you have, if you do it that way, can people still come to the meeting or not?
It's limited space. So we were trying to get a hold of the Legion to see if we could use their big room. So that way folks who wanted to come could come, but at the same time, you can only fit so many people in,
Right.
Legally.
Right.
So, yeah, there's no way we could fit more than what we have here today.
Yeah. The thing about it is we rarely get 50 people. But who knows? You gotta assume you're gonna get 2,700 or 1,500 or whatever. And then you gotta plan it for. Although,
But
we
with
can
the,
almost assure that we're
with
not
the
going to.
virus, I mean, it's,
Right.
you're gonna see, if people have a chance to do a Zoom, I think they're gonna do it.
You might actually get more people on the Zoom.
You never know. Worth a try. I mean, I think it's the best way to go, that's for sure.
Where does somebody, how do you guys advertise your Zoom address?
So the address is right on the top of the agenda. Then it's also posted on Facebook. So you can find the agenda,
Website.
posted and then on the website and on Facebook. So it's just a matter of click.
And we could probably go one step further and put it in the Friday paper.
Oh, sure.
You know, just to be safe, try to get to as many people as we possibly can.
You put it with the mail-in ballots. Mail-in people
Right.
ballots.
Right, that's a very good idea.
Yeah, it would be right on the warning.
Now we're waiting for the Senate to do that, and then, so we have to come up with the money to mail ballots out, and then
Get reimbursed.
get reimbursed.
And, the House passed that 146-0 today, so that sends a strong message to the Senate, so hopefully they'll follow and put it in remaining stages and get it done tomorrow.
Well, everybody knows we're up again.
No, the final vote was 0.
Was it zero?
Well,
Thank you.
as long as we got.
I think we're great. Thank you for coming down.
Anything else with these guys while we're here?
Well, will you want us to speak at town meeting? Now,
Good question.
I'm not chomping at the bit to do that.
Well,
But
You want us
if you, how would you like it done, I guess?
Well, if they're gonna be like at the American Legion where there might be more room, we could drop in like this and
Yeah.
be
And if
Social
not, you
distance.
could always zoom in if you
Zoom,
wanted to.
zoom.
We could interrupt the meeting for, particularly if there's pertinent stuff that we should hear, and there usually is.
Yeah, there is.
Right.
well, that might be a good idea though. For them to zoom in,
Yeah.
and then they can just stop our meeting or whatever we're doing and let them
Just, that's what we
speak
do usually.
and have whatever they got,
Adjourn.
and then just open for questions for
It-
5 minutes or something and.
If we zoom in, and I might sound like I know what I'm doing, but I don't. If we zoom in, do you guys have whatever capabilities you gotta have to put him and I on at the same time? Yeah,
Well, like.
I mean, we have that in the
like any meeting,
legislature.
Whoever talks is, yeah.
yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, and then we could probably do all 4 towns.
Right. From the,
Each year, somebody gets left out.
from the comfort of your
We do
home.
Castle and Fairhaven first, 2 bigger towns, and then we
Yep.
alternate.
Yeah, we'll save $10 worth of gas.
That's a good point.
Anything else for those guys?
No, I think we're good.
Thank you, guys.
All right,
Thank you
thanks.
for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Stop by the house. Noon time's a good time.
Okay.
Get about an hour off.
Will do. Do we have RHR Smith?
Yes. Josh, you're up. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Excellent.
Welcome to the
So
meeting.
is the computer better or should I call in? I don't know what audio works best.
You sound great, just like you are.
You sound
Okay.
great. Right, so this is Josh with RHR Smith, our auditors, and he's gonna do a basic report. So you're on. Let us have
Okay.
it.
Great. Well, first of all, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure actually who's there, but I apologize that I am not there in person. You know, the pandemic has certainly thrown, I think, everyone's world for a loop, and the audit world was no exception. I'm actually only in Middlebury, but I've got 3 kids, and I prefer to, you know, try not to spread as much as I possibly can. So thank you for accommodating me over the phone. So do you all have, Joe, have you given them like electronic versions of the audit that
Nope.
we sent out yesterday, or what's it look like?
Nope, they don't. We were waiting for the hard copies, but those haven't got
Okay.
here.
Okay, all right. So hard copies are on the way. Joe, I don't know what kind of, if it's possible for me to put something up on the screen, or if you guys just want me to talk through the sort of the fund balance, so I can sort of talk through it and describe as much as necessary and needed. I'm sort of at your disposal. I know this is difficult, but.
Do you need to see this?
Go, I don't care what's everybody's
Why
preference.
don't you just explain it?
Go
up
ahead,
to us?
Josh, and if
And
we
then,
need to,
Okay.
and then if there's more questions, we can, if we,
Okay.
once we get the audit itself, we can look it over.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you guys get the hard copies, I'm always available by phone. I'm happy to come to another meeting or do whatever. So, and you know, you guys can reach out to me. So, all right. So I'll just talk through and pretend like you guys sort of know what I'm looking at. So first thing is I'll talk about your balance sheet. So your assets, your liabilities, and the ever important fund balance. So you started your year, so July 1st, 2019. With a fund balance of $144,000 and change. Your revenues in your general fund in 2020 was $1,738,000. Your expenditures were $1,624,000. And there's a transfer out of your general fund of $65,000. So your net change in fund balance over the year was a surplus of $48,000. So your fund balance as of June 30th, 2020 has increased to $193,480. So that's a good thing.
this is just the, general fund, this isn't the road maintenance and everything?
That's correct. That's just your general fund. For your highway fund, I'll skip all of the meat and potatoes, and I'll just jump right down to the net change in fund balance in your highway fund was a deficit of $67,000. So that highway fund balance went from $185,000 to just under $118,000 in FY20. Some of the other, and just feel free to holler stuff out, I'm just going to plow through some of the other areas I typically will go over is I'll look at your operating revenues in your water and your sewer funds. And this is also displayed in the audit when you get it. So I usually don't get into the net position because that includes all of your long-term your long-term liabilities, includes all of your assets, and gets into a net position number, which is different from fund balance. So I usually just like to talk about what were your revenues in your water and your sewer funds, what were your expenses. So we're, you know, what was your operating, your net operating experience. So for your water fund, you had operating revenues of $393,000. You had total operating expenses of $505,000, and some transfers out of $72,000. So that's a net deficit of $184,000. I will note that depreciation expense in that operating expense is $232,000. So that certainly reflects all of the work that you guys have put into your water system over the past years. And so that's all the depreciation of those capital assets. Your net position in your water fund is still at $2.8 million, which is a reflection of all the capital assets that you guys have in your water fund. For sewer, the operating revenues were $523,000. Expenses were $637,000. About $28,000 of transfers out, so that's a change in net position of $142,000. And that your sewer fund went from $164,000 down to $21,000 with that change. I didn't get a chance to connect with Jenny and Joe this afternoon, but as I was looking at this, I don't know, a seventh time, I did notice that the wastewater study expenses did not get capitalized in this fund. And so I am going to recommend that they do that, which is going to increase that net position by $160,000. There was a big wastewater study that went on that hits your liabilities as a long-term debt. It was through revolving loan funds from the state. So I'm going to recommend that we capitalize that. So that will adjust that, I think, up to your net position will just then move up to $180,000 in your sewer fund. Okay, so long-term debt, there's a big schedule of long-term debt. I'm just going to try to summarize it here. For governmental activities, your current debt as far as what you're going to pay in FY21 amounts to $60,000, and that's for both bonds as well as notes payable. And your total balance at the end of June 30th, 2020 in your governmental activity, so this is just your general fund, your highway fund, stuff of that sort, was $196,000. Most of your bonds and notes are inside of your business type activities, which are your water and your sewer funds. And you've got bonds and notes as of 6/30/20 in water and sewer of $2.6 million. And that annual payment is $115,000. And so when you get the audit, you'll see this schedule, and it'll list out all the different bonds, all the different notes, if they're governmental, if they're water, if they're sewer. So you'll be able to drill down into that detail as much as you like. Then beyond that, we've got schedules that break out all of your special revenue funds, so your airport park, your community gardens, emergency reserves, grant planning, so on and so forth. You guys have 2 pages worth of those. I'm not going to go through all of those. So that breaks down the balance sheet, the revenues, the expenses, and then there's another schedule of all of your capital projects funds. So that's your bridge repair, fire equipment replacement, listers equipment. I've got a couple pages of those as well. So I'll skip on those. All of those have a positive fund balance. So I would highlight it if I thought it was the issue. Sometimes some places end up with negative fund balances in some of their special revenue or capital project funds, which we would recommend to rectify for the general fund, but you guys don't have that, which is great. And so that's kind of the audit. And I'll just say I did not have any management letter comments this year. I don't know if Jenny is in the room or if she's on the phone, but you guys are lucky to have her. She does a great job, keeps the books in great working order, and makes my job very easy. So I appreciate that. Joe as well. And Suzanne and Bev all were very helpful, and we appreciate it and enjoy working with the town of New Haven. Does anybody have any questions? I'm sorry, Fairhaven. Sorry. I almost made it all the way through. I've been working on New Haven all day. Sorry. Fairhaven.
So how are Fairhaven's written? Yeah, never mind. You usually send a letter, what is that gonna say, anything?
So no, that's the management letter that I was just referencing. So no, we
Okay.
do not have any comments in our management letter this year.
Okay. I wondered. That's good.
Yeah, which is great.
It would, I guess, I don't know, it's difficult to, without seeing it, without having the hard copy in front of us, it's difficult to ask any questions, but we may have some. And does it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy to, once we get those in hand, I'm happy to come back to another meeting and talk with you folks and go over any questions you have.
I got nothing. It was
Pretty
a pleasure working with
straightforward.
RHR Smith.
If there are no other questions, we appreciate you getting on with us, and we will peruse. When we get the hard copy, we will look at it and see what we got and see if there are any questions. A lot of them we probably can pre-submit, and you can just send us an answer, email, whatever. We'll see, we'll work it from there and see how it goes, but appreciate the overview.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. And again, hopefully next time I will be able to visit in person.
Yeah, well, let's hope so, but
Yeah.
we'll keep your kids healthy.
Yeah.
And if there are no other questions, I thank you a lot, Josh.
Okay.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
New Haven's audit went well.
Yeah, they got trouble. Okay. How about we get to the minutes already?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for December 29th.
Second?
Second it.
Thank you. Additions, deletions, corrections, questions?
Just one, on the first page, under public hearing on apple tree, I think the last sentence should be, it says Mrs. Hewitt, I think it should be Miss Coolis.
Coolis. Oh, good point.
But I thought Mrs. Hewlett was the other one that was there.
But that's, just for, we're good.
No, the other one, the other person
That's
was
the new
on with
one.
Mary Cohn.
Yeah.
It's Mary Cole. Yeah.
So that should be Kula, however you say it.
I don't know. You know what I did is I looked at it and said, that's her married name. I didn't know she's married.
Where that came from.
That's the assumption
It's just
of,
a minor-
Like Maycomber.
yes, exactly. Yeah, precisely.
Patty Dollar says there's still people that call her Patty Sweeney.
Good to know.
Everybody okay?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. 5 minutes for public comment.
I just wanted to stop in and, I guess you need my name, Sean Galvin, for the record. I'm here for Fairhaven Rescue. Last time I was here, Mr. Brown had asked for some information pertaining to how much revenue came in from 911 responses compared to transfers. And I went back to the squad, started going through the records. Unfortunately, the way billing had been done prior to, I took over in March. We went to outside billing in April. It didn't have a means of differentiating. It was what was billed out and what came in. I can do it from here forward, from where the new billing started. Their programs allow for that. The only way to get that information for the past year would be over time consuming, and I'd have to go through individual records.
I think you should just start as of the time that you took over, and because if you're billing it differently now, where it's showing each one individually,
Right.
it'll be a lot easier for you to show what you've got coming. Right now, I'm sure everything's just bundled together in one income.
Right, right.
So, I mean, if there's no way of breaking nothing out, it's not worth that much time. It's not worth spending that much time on, that's what I guess I'm trying to say.
But I can, in the future,
Yeah.
and I can do it from when we took over, the biller can get.
So that can just show in your next report,
Okay,
when you do your report for next year, whenever,
right.
And that way there, people just have some idea
Yep.
on which is which and what's happening.
I just didn't want you to think I
No,
ignored
no,
you. I
I-
wanted to make sure I came and let you know
Well,
that you
if,
didn't do what I could.
if there's, it's not, like I said, it's not that big of a deal now. I mean, it is a big deal, but it's still, it's not worth all the time to go through everything
Right.
to try to separate it. It's just, I say just start when you started and have it as part of the procedure
Yep.
in your billing. So no matter who's there, they can come in here and explain it to, or whoever asked the question,
Right.
that you can explain it to them.
Right, and I think that's great information to have. that-
Yeah, I think it is too, because it gives you both sides of what your squad's doing,
Right.
you know, and see where your time is spent and what's happening.
But other than that, I just wanted to once in a while stop in, and if I can answer any questions, I will. If I can't, I don't know the answer. and I'll
I'm happy
try to
I'm happy with your response and your question, your answers.
Thank you.
Any other? Okay.
I'm sorry, Linda Barker came in,
okay.
and she wanted to talk a little bit about getting the big playground grant, if that's okay.
Sure.
Since maybe,
I just, okay.
I thought,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, well, tickled to death that we got the grant, never thought it would happen during Murphy's term. So that's awesome. I still will, with Murphy, continue fundraising. I talked to Joe today about, he had mentioned wood chip surface for the playground. And I've been researching not recycled rubber, but a rubber chip that has a 20-year warranty on it. If we're gonna put that kind of money into the playground, we don't want the first kid on the playground to come off 10 foot, I don't know how high the highest, hit their head on the ground, and you know, the rubber is the safest way to go if there's a way we can manage to do that. So we will continue fundraising and see if we can get some more money, whether we go with rubber or manufactured
I think,
wood product or
I
whatever.
think the rubber's a better idea, because I have to agree with you on, it's got more, it's more spongy, I guess you wanna say, and your chances of being hurt are smaller.
Right, yeah, and I've researched, and the recycled tires are just disgusting. You know, there are chemical problems with them, but the company I researched, it's new rubber, it's whatever government certified, so it can actually go in buildings. You know, I'm sure it's very expensive, but it's worth checking into and seeing what we can do that'll give us the longest wear, the most safety.
I think it's the stuff you see underneath the AstroTurf now, the stuff, the black stuff that pops up. I think that's the same makeup.
Yeah, this is from rubber tiles that they cut up into
Yeah.
chips, the leftover pieces. So it's
I'm
worth
sure
it.
that's what it is.
Is Murphy running again?
We don't know.
Murphy's all tired out.
It's a lot of work.
It is, yeah, it was quite a bit more work than I thought, but the outcome was definitely worth it, so.
Well, you've done a good job.
We're
Yes,
glad.
thank you
very much.
and Murphy for all the work you did.
Yeah, he's a slave driver, what can I say? I mean, he's a slacker, he's a typical politician.
Lincoln's moved out of town, so they'll have to find
Well,
a
Lincoln
third
moved
one.
on.
Yeah,
Oh, dude.
he's moved on, so.
So thank you, everybody. We're
Thank
gonna
you.
go home and
Thank
have
you.
supper.
Thank you.
All right.
Come on, Murph.
Well, the difference between Murphy and Lincoln you could eat.
Well, maybe you could.
You know, like the Greek
Yeah,
Easter or
Easter.
something.
I could just see bringing Abby in here like that. Bear dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be all over the place. Okay, department head reports. Department head.
Aaron,
Highway end of it, of course, we continue to see some relatively small storms compared to what we started with this year.
nice.
Some snow icing storms that we've had come through and go out pretty quietly. Through this storm, we've been able to maintain safe roads, fairly smooth anyway, nicely. Conservative amounts of salt and sand. So far the year, used approximately 150 yards of sand, 200 tons of salt, and about 400 gallons of the ultra melt that we've been spraying at the salt to help use it more effectively. Those numbers, the 200 tons of salt, a normal year for us runs about 600 to 650 tons. So we're kind of running very well so far on that. So we're hoping it stays quiet like it is. I say that with them not knowing what's going to happen, this polar vortex is going to come over to us at some point and do what it's going to do to us. Between the storms, been busy with the trucks and equipment, making sure the repairs are made that we find in the middle of a storm or such that are necessary, as well as normal maintenance on them. Water end of it, the guys are out still every week running around with their radios, reading the meters, trying to see if there's anything out there that pops up with that alert to say, hey, maybe let them know something's going on at their house for high usage or something like that. So something they keep doing. The plant itself's been running very well, so they're happy with that. They had I don't know if I informed you or not, but they found an electrician out of Rutland to try and help them dial in some of their controls. So I think we did talk about it. They're very happy with that electrician and the work he's been doing to get that plant. So the meter or stuff reading how the water is coming in and out of the plant, and all the meters for the chemicals are being more precisely tuned in instead of the meters or stuff being off drastically this way or that way. They've been fine-tuned, so Tom's very happy up there with how the plant's been able to run. The sewer end of it, Adams Street Pump Station is continuing to have issues with that controls. We do have RFPs that we're drafting to try and get ready to discuss with you guys to go out to bid to get those controls replaced, as well as get an emergency generator, power generator down there. So that when we lose power, they can run both pumps in that pump station. Right now, what they currently have is a gas-powered motor that physically drives one pump during a power outage. And under heavy flow conditions, that one pump can't sustain to make sure that they're pumping all the stuff out, so they run into a risk during high flow events with running on emergency power, that pump station's still overflowing. So with upgrading that controls, we're hoping that we can at the same time get a generator on board down there so both pumps can run with the generator itself. So discussion that we'd like to definitely have with you guys on how we can fund this and get this going. The controls themselves in Adams Street Pump Station are early 2000s. In the last, say 6 months, a year now, they've been having more and more issues with stuff not running right. The lead pump not coming on, so the lag pump's always the pump that's pumping, and vice versa, stuff like that. Just as computers are, once they get finicky, they fight to the bitter end. So, Academy Street, we did have that repair that was made temporarily, so now we're running on one float down there, so it turns the pump on, turns the pump off, instead of having enough floats that we run the lead pump on. If the wet well keeps going higher, a lag pump will come on, and then of course the alarming points too. But right now it's running on that one float, being able to flip up and say you need to turn on and take care of business. So that one is.
How old is that?
I forgot to grab the date on the caddy. That would be, so I want to say that's early 80s.
Yeah.
Whenever they put the big water main in down there for the possible Skyline or even Hubbard and Forge. I think, or it's probably a Skyline then, but yeah, that's early 80s vintage. That pump station itself serves 6 houses, I believe it is. It is not a big ticket item. The sewer plant, the operators down there, Adams Street, so that's the one we need to make sure we get taken care of. Academy Street, that temporary fix will go for a while. We're hoping for a little while until we can find the money to do that upgrade itself, but the Adams Street one is the one that wakes them up in the middle of the night and they can't go back to bed because they keep thinking about, well, it hasn't called yet, but if it does, so. That's all I have for you right at the moment.
One quick question about Adams Street. If you got a bigger generator, could you run both pumps that way? Before, I mean, you know you gotta do an upgrade, but could you run both pumps if you had a bigger generator?
So right now what is just a gas-powered motor that's direct drive to one pump.
Just the one pump?
Yeah, it's just a direct drive. It's not electrical on any, besides being started up. It's a propane powered, I want to say it's a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder gas motor that just sits there. Looks like it's sitting on a motor mount or sitting on a motor block chain, and
Yeah.
just direct drive to that one pump, and that's all it is running. There's no way to configure that I could see to run both of them. So the only way feasible is to put an actual electrical generator down there
To run both?
electrically run both electric motors to run both pumps. So,
This week we got a letter from the Fairhaven Water Department on the Consumer Confidence Report from 2019. My question when I looked through it was, it said that back when they did the original audit, there were two significant deficiencies. It was an inadequate storage facility alarms on self-storage tank and inadequate processing, monitoring, testing equipment at treatment plant 1. Have they been addressed, or are we have plans addressing them? I was just curious. When
the first deficiency of self-tank monitoring, I know Champlin Associates was down. It's been an ongoing issue for a while of getting something there to adequately measure the level in that reservoir. As of this last week, they finally were able to install a new radio up there to get the telemetry stuff that had been installed in a while ago now fully functional. Tom said it's working correctly now.
Okay.
But I know it has been an ongoing issue of this is the problem, no, this is the problem, and we've been back and forth. And I want to say Tom sounded like he's happy that it's working now. Without seeing the letter on the plant stuff, I'm going to say I think that refers back to their forbid meters probably from the sanitary survey. Those have been all replaced.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
And for just a little bit more on that south tank, the levels, that's been an ongoing problem for years. We added new solar panels and we added a new system to it. In the summer it seems to work better, and in the winter, and they've been trying to kind of work the bugs out of it. So it's been on our radar.
And the state knows that we're working.
Yeah, the states, they see that we've been, doing what we can. It's a tough situation.
Any questions?
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm up.
Sure.
From the police department, the chief, he says he's just kind of at a broken record. It's been, knock on wood, pretty quiet for the PD. They're still getting out there ticketing the homes that are storing junk and old cars on their property, trying to gain compliance there, and still doing traffic enforcement. So,
Almost got me the other day.
no news is good news.
Just while you're still on the police, did everybody get the letter that the state sent about the intersection up by Stewart's?
Yeah.
They do not recommend a stop sign. They did suggest the same thing that I suggested about moving your island. I think the only way, if you did that, you'd have to have a stoplight. Because you'd have to have an arrow for people to move out of the thing. So I would say that just do the recommendations. Let's get the another speed limit sign. Because they said there wasn't a speed limit sign. It was a long distance away from where it was, and they recommended putting the red tape on the post, which does reflect it, make it look more, even get a bigger yield sign, or whatever we gotta do, just to see if we can't make it just a little safer. I think the other route, changing it to just a left-hand turn, that'd be costly. We've got a drain in the middle of that island, and to try to get it, you'd be running over the drain If you put the curve in
Just
for
a
the
right
trucks.
hand, just a right hand, you mean a right hand?
Yeah, for the
turn?
right-hand
Yeah.
turn, you'd be running over the drain all the time, that certainly isn't a good practice.
That
So
was-
my suggestion is to do what the state said, just get a bigger yield sign, put the red tape on this thing and put a speed limit sign down the road a little ways from there, so they realize that it's 30 miles an hour. I have seen some of the yield signs that blink. I don't know if anybody else has seen them.
Yeah.
They have them for some of the crosswalks. And then I saw the ones that's for yield that just, at nighttime, they blink all the time. And I'm just wondering if that would be another solution, you know?
I've been in a couple of towns in Massachusetts that have blue reflective tape.
Yep,
You really see that.
See it, yeah.
You really see that. It's pretty cool.
but I think the suggestions that was in that letter is the way we ought to go. It's certainly the cheapest way we can go. And if it makes it a little more safer up there, then,
At that point, then we could talk about
yeah,
doing the beautification part of it.
right,
too.
because everything's gonna be left the same.
Yeah. Yeah, we can pull some numbers and see what that looks like.
Just to add in there, if we are down the road gonna look to modifying the intersection, I think that time to talk would be when the state comes through with either changes to Dutton Avenue and or the class 1 pavement when they come back down through North Main in the future. No idea when it's on the radar, but they might at that point do what they did.
Well,
West
see,
Road
yeah,
and
that's,
say,
if the
"Here's
state
something
comes
that's-"
through, if the state was to come through and pave and they decide that was, they had foot the bill for it.
Yep.
That'd be the good part, but
Yep.
right now, I think we just do what the gentleman from the state recommended. And, you know, we can look at one in blinking signs if you think that would help,
Couldn't hurt.
you know? So,
It is a little confusing.
yeah, I mean,
know,
and you do,
Who's got the right of way
I
there?
know, myself, I've blown the horn at somebody coming straight because I thought I had the right of way, and then I remembered it, I didn't, so. But anything would make it handier, that's all. I really don't think a stop sign would work there, because I think you just blast through it.
The state didn't want that.
No, they
10
don't.
years, 15 years ago. They didn't, they were adamant about
Well,
that.
it was a yield sign, that was it.
Yeah. So, yeah, different
That's-
people,
That's just my 2 cents on
I
what
think that's the way to go.
Okay. I had a visitor to the town offices today. The young lady wanted me to let the board know. She didn't feel it was appropriate to put the sewer bond into the property tax budget, into the budget we just passed. She wanted to know if we were gonna pay for her septic system, half of her septic system should it fail. My answer was probably not. So she wanted me to let the board know this. Just working out of town manager's office. We're still working on that piece of property that was donated to the town. I have a conference call with the lawyer and then a couple of listers on Friday. It sounds like the head lister has a solution and it should work just fine. Shouldn't be a problem at this point.
It's my understanding on that property though, they're gonna pay taxes as long as the person's living in the house, is that the way I understand it?
Yes.
So, because they have a lifetime residency there, and they're gonna pay the taxes as long as that person's there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't seem fair to have no taxes in that
Right,
property.
because
It's not
it
right.
certainly shouldn't be the town's burden to give somebody rent-free.
Yeah, no. I'm not sure if we talked about it before, but the engineer did come in and look at the beam in the firehouse. And we're working towards that. He's gonna draft up some, the plans, and then Mr. Ferguson, Todd Ferguson said he can do the work, so we're moving forward with that. The insurance company did give us an extra $1,500 for the, cost of the engineering. So they neglected to think that we had to have that done, so we kind of got a little bit out of them for that. I guess the board, will have to make a decision either, I guess at the next meeting, whether you want to try to have the town informational meeting at the Legion or not. But we still are trying to get in touch with the Legion, to see if they'll let us use their hall. If you're out on the south side, we talked to GMP and they were out there. They did a bunch of brush cutting on Cemetery, there was some trees right up into the wires that our guys just couldn't get. So the guys came out, GMP came out and took care of that.
They also cut that dead maple, that every storm, they're up there cutting the limb because it comes down across the wires on Academy Street.
Oh, they get it?
They cut that down, all there is now is a big tall stump. So all that stuff is gone where it was laying over.
Yep.
Cause these guys have been down there 2 or 3 times picking up stuff every time it stormed.
Yeah, wonderful.
So that was kinda nice to see them cut that out.
Yeah. I thank Dave Birmingham as our contact out there, and I made one call to him, and he said, yeah, we'll get down there. It took a few weeks, but you know, they're busy, so.
And they did all, I mean, they did, 22 and everything else. I mean, they came out, that whole section they've done. So they've done a good job over there.
Yeah, I appreciated the help, because it was kind of a mess. Working on a voter guide for the town warning. As soon as the board approves that, I'll bring something to the board for them to review. I'm thinking maybe a front and back page, something to keep it simple, explaining which articles will cost taxpayer tax dollars and which won't, and what the budget's about.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about one of those in here, it's a little misleading, not misleading, it's just, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah. And so we have the trailer we were using to move around the excavator. When doing an inspection on that thing, there's some severe rust around the front of the trailer, around the tongue. That it's not safe to use, is what it boils down to. We tried to get Todd Ferguson to put a weld on it, since he has the big welder and can do that. It's not something he was interested in handling, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't weld on the tongue either. So Aaron is looking for some used trailers, something a little more decent than a $2,000 trailer. And that.
How old is the trailer, that trailer?
I am not sure. Trying to find the paperwork to begin with, the reason why I discovered the issues was trying to find a serial number on it. And when I got poking around the tongue looking for a tag of some sort, I noticed all the rust and cracking that was in that tongue area. And of course, called Joe right away and said, I don't want to put the excavator back on this trailer until I have it repaired. And called Todd. Todd said he's not DOT certified. And he said he's not sure who is DOT certified to actually put a proper weld on that.
Rattlesnake?
Or if they would even, but
Rattlesnake, is it?
I could ask him, but
I would think if anybody would be, it'd be, Brad Stevens.
But going from the tongue all the way back, if you take a hammer and walk from the top of the beam all the way to the bottom, all across the back, you can hear how the channel gets a lot weaker towards the bottom all the way down through that thing. From what I understand, we paid for it. I believe the town got its money out of it, and what it's going to cost us, if you look through the board orders, there is a bill for us for having to have that excavator trailer. We probably have our money out of that trailer from what I heard we paid for it, so. But I don't believe it's in the town's best interest to have an excavator that we have to continue to pay someone's trailer when we can spend some good money, hopefully, to buy something that'll last us far beyond what we want now.
Well, that would be if I had anything that I'd wish for and charge you to do is just keep up on the maintenance. I know that's kind of your specialty. I just.
What do you feel you have to have for a trailer? 14 ton?
So it has to be at least a 10 ton. The excavator itself is 18,000 pounds. So
You want to go to at least 12 ton. You want to go to at least a 12 ton trailer.
well, yeah, 12 ton with a 10 carrying capacity will suffice. Because I mean, there's no.
I got a couple books at home where I used to get, that I get all the time from the used equipment stuff.
We found some that we can find them in the $2,000 plus range, but we look at them without even going to look at them. It looks like we're looking at the same item as what we currently have.
If you're going to buy it, I think you got to look to begin with. I think you got to start about 5,000, because you're saying what you're saying is true. The person's going to sell it to you for $2,000. There's nothing left to it. I mean, that's even if you had to get something and replank it. you know, as long as you get the subframe and stuff, that's good.
If we're open to it. I know, a new one, just to check reference point to start, make sure we're not looking at used ones out of our ballpark, look beyond what we want to spend. The new one was looking like 12,000, 10 to 12,000.
Easy.
There's a used one that's been sitting on the internet for Lake George Way, that's a 20,000 pound carry capacity for $6,200. It's been sitting there a while. It looks decent. I've reached out, you know, to get the age of it and such. It's a Kaufman trailer, so it's a name brand. It's 20 foot long with a 5 foot beaver tail off the back.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing. I had one, I sold a 20-ton trailer for $7,000. With less than 4,000 miles on it.
So that is out there. That, like I said, the ones that are $2,000 some, you pretty well find them. Ones that look like they're above that 5,000 mark are looking like they're harder to come by. Because
I'll go through the books I got at home and see if there's something. If there is, I'll bring it down to you.
Okay, and last thing, we're about, well, a little more than 6 months in now. Just as a heads up in our finances, your general budget's right where it should be at like 52%. Water fund and sewer fund are close to where they should be. We had some debt services come out early in the budget season, some pretty high dollars. So it looks like it's high, but it's, as we progress, that percentage spent will come in line with where we're sitting. And DPW, they're also looking really good. We had 180,000 come out early in the season for paving, and that's slowly working its way back down to the percentage where it should be at this time of year. So we're very happy with where things are sitting this time of year in our budget. And I think that's all I got.
Sure?
I hope so.
Okay, old business, the warning is first. Find it. So the board needs to review and approve Articles 20 through 25 on Thursday. After revenues are completed, Article 2 will be approved by the board, and then the entire warning can be signed. Any comments on any of them? Well, I'm still trying to find mine.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that, I think it's the Boys and Girls Club,
That's for an increase.
they went up $5,000.
Boys and Girls Club doubled their request.
Yeah.
There was one other increase too, wasn't there, besides the Boys and Girls Club?
Boys and Girls Club doubled theirs. The Fairhaven Rescue Squad, the library increased theirs a little bit. But I think that was it. There are a few that are new to the...
Yeah, the regional ambulance.
I was surprised, what's the regional ambulance, what's that all about?
Regional. They sent a request for money
Right.
But for
ambulance service.
what?
Ambulance service.
I understand that, but we don't use them.
The only thing we do
Meet them?
is we meet them. But,
I
I mean,
would,
that's billed out too, and I think it's because they didn't have to do the legwork of getting
a petition, yeah.
getting a petition out, that they just,
I didn't know
Why
if they
not?
were
Children.
testing the waters.
yeah.
And I think, you know, when we asked them before and the voters would have to vote on something, they might be testing the water. So, did you want to do them by one article at a time, or just throw stuff out about them? There was the one thing, and it goes all the way to Article 24. So the voters of Fairhaven appropriate $50,000 for additional road paving. I think Jay brought it up at our last meeting, but the appropriations, well over $300,000, are totally out of control in my mind. And one thing, I can't sit here and say they're out of control and then, as a board, ask for $50,000 in appropriations as well. I think this is not, with what we're talking here, this is not the year, and want us to consider not asking for $50,000, but, and if we do, it sits at the bottom of carry forward. It's very confusing. If it does stay in, it better be moving up to where the other appropriations are. It's just, we go appropriations, then we go carry forward, then we go in appropriation again.
Yeah, that was my question about that. I'm in favor of keeping it, but I think it should, you're doing all the carry forward stuff, and then all of a sudden you're asking for 50,000. It almost implies that that's a carry forward too. So maybe that should be, if we decide to keep it, that should be up there, above that, and then the carry forward are all together. And even,
I think all the town business should be before all the rest of them to begin with.
that's not a bad idea.
I think everything the town has to vote on for the townspeople that's gonna benefit the town, I feel should be at the top of the list.
Yeah.
And then the other appropriation should be after that.
Yeah, the library, the rescue squad, and
Well, the library and them should be up with us, you know,
Yeah.
or right at the end of it, but all that appropriations at the bottom are the ones where we're, you know, taken from funds. That should all be together in one place for the town. And then the other stuff afterwards.
Sure, I can move that around, that's.
It's a good idea.
What is there for the paving in the budget?
185.
And remind me what the extra 50,000 was for? Was it something
Extra
specific?
paving.
To carry forward, to move forward with the pavement plan. The pavement plan scheduled for next year, was to include spot patches on 4th Street to get that smooth again as best we can. To pave Swamp Road, Union Street, Grape and Furnace got switched this year, so Furnace would be on the agenda this year, as well as Adams Street and partial of Airport Road. Those paving.
Scotch Hill on there?
What if you pulled Swamp Road right out?
Swamp Road right up.
Pull Swamp Road right out, you would pull about 100, the budget figures we have is about $164,000 for Swamp Road.
And what did
That's
happen
why
to
I'm saying
Scotch Hill?
50,000 that we're
So
asking for.
Scotch Hill, is not in the pavement plan. That's on its own separate. We're waiting to hear, every year we apply for the Class 2 paving grant, which is $175,000, 80-20 match. If we received that Scotch Hill paving grant, the thought and the plan would have been is to, with the $180,000 and the $50,000 on top of that grant, whatever money we can come up with, would be to do all Scotch Hill that year we get that grant and push this whole plan back that year that we received that grant. So that way we can
I
try
think,
to complete that whole road in 1 year's time.
I understand what you're trying to do. I don't think Swamp Road's that bad. I think Swamp Road should be taken off entirely and take this 50,000 out of the appropriation. That's still gonna leave us 188,000. It'll give us all these streets in town will be done. And there's still maybe some extra money over, you know, if it's 100 and something thousand to do Swamp Road.
The Swamp Road, the concern we have is that the delaminating that, or the cracking that's doing is that we will lose it like we did Scotch Hill at some point.
Yeah, but what area are you talking about?
So the area of concern, major concern right now that we want to get some patching done or some cover on would be all of the wooded area. So if you came from the 22A, sorry, the Route 4A side back into that wooded area, that's where we have a lot of more pothole area that's starting to form, and it's going to get rapidly worse. The rest of the road is all alligator cracked. It's drivable, but what we're afraid of is if we don't catch it this year or soon, we're gonna be in the same boat we are in Scotch Hill where the entire road is potholing and, you know, costs more to fix.
And even if we did it and if we did part of it, where it is down through the woods, put that on, stop the rest of it and take the 50,000 out of there. I just think, like Glenn just said, what the appropriations are gonna come up to this year. We're supposed to be here I just can't see putting $50,000 more on that. And I would like to see it taken out entirely.
I get where you're coming from, I do, but, you know, our responsibility is to be prudent about what we spend. But at some point, I mean, maintaining roads is part of the
I
deal.
understand that, but they've been left so long with no maintenance. And now they want to take care of all the maintenance within 2 years. And the people can't afford it. I mean,
So,
I'd like to see it all done. I'd like to see all this stuff done. But let's be reasonable about this. I mean, this budget, when we get done, like, I guess the school isn't gonna be too bad this year. But when we get done with what we've had to put in this budget, and then the appropriations come on top of it, it's gonna be a hard hit.
7 something, right?
It's good, well, that's before you get the school on top of it.
Well,
And
yeah,
that's-
here's what we do every single year, and I'm getting sick of it. We bust our butt on the school budget, on our budget. We're giving away our responsibility so that it won't be such a hard hit because of the school and because of the appropriations. It's kind of frustrating.
Well, Bob, we didn't do anything. We didn't take anything out of our budget to not take care of what we always take care of. The 50,000 we're
understand
asking for, we haven't, Bob.
No, I know that. I
Okay,
agree with
so
you.
our budget, we did not skimp on our budget one iota as far as what we want to get done in this town. I'm just saying the $50,000, it's a bad time, this is a bad year to be doing it. If it was a different situation, I'd vote for it, but right now I can't. I mean,
You leave the 50,000 in there, I can almost guarantee you our budget will get voted down.
yeah, I mean, if,
I can tell you, we did everything
wasn't
in our
last
power
year.
to keep
It
our
wasn't
budget from going up more than $84,000, and here we are, let's add another 50,000 through appropriations. To me, it's just because we lack the intestinal fortitude to put it in the budget in the first place if we wanted it.
What's the difference?
I'm
This
just saying,
This gives the
we're passing our responsibility on of making a decision to take care of the roads and put it in the budget, and to, let's let them vote and put it in. That's the same mindset that gets us into $300,000 of appropriations, which to me, I just can't believe it. I understand that, but we can do a better job of letting people know what it is they're doing when they're complaining about their taxes and then turning around and saying yes to everything in appropriations.
Well, and what we do is to soften the blow of the appropriations, which we have no control over.
Understood?
We take out things that we need.
but we haven't, Bob. We
No,
didn't
I
this
mean,
year.
I think we need the 50,000 as well.
I don't
That's
see,
why I'm saying
right now, I think we can go up and do part of, Swamp Road, the part that's bad, that he just said it was bad, and still be able to get these small streets
still get the
done
streets
with what we've got for $188,000 in our budget. And next year, put the 50,000 back in, but right now, I don't think they can do it. It
Just to throw it out there, if we do get that class 2 grant, Scotch Hill would be estimating that that's $500,000 to do that in 1 year. So if we don't have that capital, we would have to cut ourselves short and do only sections of it with what money we.
What is the chances of getting that grant this year for Scotch Hill?
I'm not sure where the governmental end of it sits. We sit in the timeline, from what I understand, of when we've received past class 2 grants, where we should be up towards the top of one of these years actually receiving it.
But if the grant doesn't come through, we're still in the same boat next year, because you're still gonna be $50,000 short. So, again, whatever you can get for a grant on Scotch Hill, you do what you got, what you can do, and then finish it up on our own the following year. So, I mean, I just feel that 50,000 should be out. And
Could I ask if it's the money total itself, or just if we were to leave it there as a question to them? Because I know personally, in my town, if they ask me if I want to spend more of my cash right up front towards roads, I would say, by all means, please do it. But that's my personal opinion.
If anyone asks me, I'd tell them no. I don't support $50,000 for the pavement, only because of the price of the taxes. Not that we don't need roads. I'm the first one to jump up and down and say our roads are terrible and we need to fix them. But we've got to do what we can afford.
Except when it comes
and we
time to
can't
pay
afford
for it.
We can't afford another $50,000 on this
I
budget.
don't think we can either.
What's the
And we as
rest
a
of the
select
people?
board have a responsibility. If you feel you can't afford it, it shouldn't be in the article to begin with. That's the only point I'm trying to make.
What's everybody else think?
Well, I hate to say it, but I think it should come out as well. I think the infrastructure is like one of the most important things that we need to hold up, but the people that I've been hearing from are they're just so worried about their taxes that, and we haven't really taken out anything. We've made some cuts, but nothing,
Nothing major.
terribly significant. I mean, it added up little bits here and there, but I hate to say, but I think it should come out as well.
Jeff?
I would leave it in, but,
Looks like it's 2 to 3.
it definitely is. And I also do have the stomach to put it in the ballot, or in the budget, if that makes people feel better. I would have no problem moving it into the budget.
Not at this point right here, Jeff. I wouldn't.
We've got our budget completed. I say the 50,000.
Nope, just answering your question is all I'm doing.
Nope, that's good.
I'll make a motion that we take it out. Take the $50,000 out of the appropriation part.
And I'll second that.
I thought you might. So there's a motion to take motion and second to take the 50,000 out of the warning for extra paving. Everybody understand we pretty well talked it to death. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Me? Yeah?
No.
Thank you. Okay,
Nay.
so that's coming out. Thanks, Jeff. Alright, so
Yep.
that's coming out.
So, can I ask a question? Because I haven't been through this before. All these appropriations, they request and we just say yes and we put it on? You can't ask them to do less or say, no, not this year. It just, that's how it goes.
They get the people get to vote on it, they vote them in every single year.
I know.
Usually,
Yeah.
they have to have a petition.
It's compounded.
Okay.
Exactly. It's been compounded by the fact that they don't need a petition.
Right. And we do things like, I don't know why, I've always say this, I don't know why the library, for instance, is
Should be in
not
our
in the general
budget. It
fund.
should be in our budget.
It should be in the town's budget
That's right,
versus.
because that is the town library.
But anyways,
When I look at appropriations, and I don't want to beat the dead horse to death, it's donations. It's great that we give over $300,000 in donations, but when you can't afford to pay the taxes you're paying, and I don't know if everyone realizes when they keep saying, yes, this is wonderful, yes, this is good, what that is, it's taking that money out of your pocket. Those are huge donations.
Well, to go a little bit farther up than what Carol was just talking about here, why can't you put a limit on appropriations? Why can't you put a limit on what we're gonna put in?
I think, and I don't have the actual statute, but, just knowing what I know, it's not, these appropriations, although the Board of Selectmen manage them and put them out there, this has nothing to do with the Board of Selectmen. This is somebody coming, talking directly to the voters.
right,
Voters, I want this much. So the selectmen have that's why the selectmen can't say no to this or no to that.
Right.
Because
Is that
it's a direct
something that
request.
you should put in your informational sheet that you're putting out so people understand it?
The way I envision,
Because you know, when you read these, I'm just talking for myself. Well, of course I want to give to, you know, Brock.
That's what
and-
happens.
But maybe not thinking through what that really means. You're donating your tax dollars to this.
Yeah.
I think that if you could do it in a.
There's very
tasteful
limited
way.
language,
Some of
there's
these,
very limited language you can put in there legally.
Legally on the ballot, we're really kind of hemmed in, but if we want to put out just an informational saying this is
What is it? What,
these are gonna cost you a total of this much, and that's what the impact is gonna be on your taxes.
that sounds a little negative, but.
This is
Well, which
what
is
it will
how I
cost you
want
on
it
your
to
taxes,
sound,
you know what I
but-
mean?
But just, yeah,
I look at
explain.
the Boys and Girls Club that doubled from 5,000 to 10,000.
Why?
what,
It should be
what did he
reasonable
do
to ask,
here?
what changed?
What did they do here in
Other than the
town?
fact that you don't have to get signatures
That's
to ask
why
for
you-
10,000.
That's why the petitions are really necessary, but this
Mm-hmm.
year's,
Right.
they're taking advantage.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, regional
Nobody's gonna
asking for $1,600,
Yeah, why?
you know.
That's one of the things that I requested, I think it was last year, that everybody that was on this appropriation has to come into the town and explain why they're asking for that money.
And give us.
A statement, give a financial,
Financials.
because,
But.
we can talk about it all night. Like I said, there's nothing we can really do about it.
You're exactly right, it's, yep.
I will make those changes. I'll move the articles to the top and then strike the payment.
And when you do, when you make your letter, when you make your letter, be sure that people understand that the money that we're using for our part of it, that we're taking out of the 171,000, it's already taxpayers' money that we're just moving. You know what I'm saying?
I'll bring some language for the board to review.
Okay,
before I-
because that way, because they've already paid for those, they've already been taxed for that amount of money you're talking here. And so they just should know that it's their money, we're just moving it to another part of the.
Is there any other specifics that we need to go through, or are we okay?
I'm fine now.
Yeah.
What's the plan in the first sentence? Are we gonna change that to Legion,
We don't know yet.
Or town office.
instead of grade school?
Yeah, right now.
Okay, alright, just,
Yeah, so we'll need to know that by Thursday, right? Okay.
Coming down to it.
Yeah, that's day after tomorrow.
The last day of work of this week.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I remind his wife every day.
But
She hates
what bothers me the most is that now that the school took over the building, we're not entitled to use
And I
it.
also suggest that in the middle of the five carry forward reappropriations, it looks like a typo. You got two out of the 171s, and then one out of the 117, and then two out of the 171.
Right, make it the,
Make it consistent, the four in a row, and then the one at the end. So it's not, doesn't look like a typo.
right, yeah, because those numbers are ones that, yeah.
The people, they just gloss right over it. They see the bold numbers.
Yeah.
Good point.
You know what I like to do? I like to draw a line across underneath where it ends, what the town needs,
Yep.
and then put, this is the extra appropriation. This is what extra is
The
gonna
state
cost.
frowns upon the town's directing.
Yeah.
I understand.
Cannot direct the
This is
voters.
what you can raise your.
We can't
taxes
even put by petition.
Right.
We can't even do that anymore.
No,
Which we always
because they
did.
didn't.
Which we, well, no, but we always did that, and and the state came in one time and told us we couldn't do it.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know.
We probably don't see that anymore.
Yep.
All right, so we're good. We'll meet again Thursday to,
Can we just come in anytime on Thursday and sign this?
No, we gotta have a meeting.
What time you plan on doing that?
I noticed it for 7.
Oh, so it's in the evening still. I thought it was during the daytime, because I had a bus trip that day, so. or just a short one.
All right, so it's good to go, and,
This is what we get the extra money for, for these extra meetings.
yeah, why you get the big bucks. Better Places Grant Letter of Support.
Yep. So the board approved the application, I think it was at the last meeting, and this is a letter of support from the Board of Selectmen saying, yes, we would really like to have this grant.
So, do you need a motion or we just need some?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we sign the letter of support for the Better Places grant for the lighting for downtown.
Second.
You better second that.
I like the one.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
You want everyone
I
to
never
sign?
thought about that, if I had opposed that, I'd have been in trouble, wouldn't I?
Nay.
Oh, well, what are you gonna do? Life is short. Want me to sign your name, Jeff?
Sure. I'll swing in the morning and catch Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Budget review, revenues reviews, all that at one.
Okay, so just a quirk when we're talking about revenues, if you're looking at the front page on page 1 of this, and then also on page 4, the first line, the one that says property tax, either current real property tax or highway property tax, that number is gonna move, depending on what the rest of the revenue looks like. So if revenue goes up further down the line, that number comes down. That number won't be solidified until after this meeting. At the next meeting, you'll see that number, and that will be what's in the warrant, or warning, excuse me.
What's gonna move? I'm confused by what you're saying. Sorry.
So the real property tax line, it's the first line.
Yep.
That number is dependent on what the rest of the revenue looks like. So if you had another, let's say beverage licenses came to $1 million in revenue, that number would come down by $1 million.
It only changes, Joe, if we make changes on line items tonight, right?
Right.
Yes, if anything changes tonight, that'll change that, but I mean, there's not much.
So, having heard all that, I'm gonna go through this very quickly, and if anybody has anything that scares them or wants to talk about, please. So general fund revenue, don't be shy. Permits and licenses. Charges for general government, that's. Yeah, clerk's fees. Okay. Charges of public safety, I don't know. Oh, okay, I know what that is. Why is it still there? That was, I think the only thing that was for the money we used to get from Hampton. Is that where that came in?
I don't know about Hampton. I thought that was the fees that the fire department charged if they had to come do some kind of.
I think it'll be gone next year anyway when it falls off.
No, we haven't done anything since, 2020, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Transfer revenue, you're seeing,
Recycling income, it was a pretty major,
Yeah, it's, our recycling revenue has been kinda on the down.
it's every place.
Yeah.
There's usually you're lucky if you don't get charged
yeah.
right now.
Yeah, even cardboard was a big money maker a few years ago, and now we're paying to get rid of it.
Which, that may change because there's been a lot of cardboard the last few, but not recycled cardboard, it's all brand new. Amazon doesn't like old cardboard. Cemetery revenue, and pretty,
Could I go back, just real quick, go back to the, public safety charges here, I thought we still get money from Hampton.
I don't think so.
That stopped?
Yeah, cause they put that,
I've never seen it.
they
Put
put
that
that,
fire
that little
station in.
fire
Okay.
station out there on
Okay.
River Street, or West Street.
Yeah, okay, you're right. On Westhaven Service Fee. Should we have looked at that to see if that should have gone up a little bit? I mean, our expenses go up every year.
When looking at that, I was wondering, because the town's fees don't stay steady.
No, and I mean, and I know they paid to come to the dump, but still, they couldn't run a,
For 16,000.
even with a dumpster, they couldn't do that for a year for $16,000.
No, not at all.
I mean, I'm not trying to hammer them, but that could go up a little bit, I would think.
It's
I mean, it's been that way since,
Hasn't moved in 4 years.
yeah, 5 years, 4 years.
The problem is the timing,
Too late now, but for next year, make sure you
it
catch
wouldn't
it.
be it wouldn't be very fair to them.
Right, but I would think they should look at least a $4,000, to get it to $20,000.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
I mean, so maybe you could put that in your little thing to discuss it with them, so that
Notes to self.
to do it next year.
Sure, that seems fair. I mean, our costs are not steady, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's still a good deal for them.
Yep. Anything else in transfer?
No.
Cemetery. Animal control.
I was looking at the lot sales in cemetery and how those have decreased a lot, and I think in general, people aren't using cemeteries like they used to. So, not to change it for this year, but again, that might be one to lower probably.
Yeah. Police revenue. Is it realistic? No, they did 30,000. No,
They're gonna go up 10,000 in ticket and parking fines.
We reduced it, was it last year, 2 years ago? And
But the actual was only 15.
yeah, this one is tough, because sometimes there's a lag in when we get paid, so sometimes it doesn't hit right, but, we ran it past the police and they seemed to be confident in that number, so.
well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Anything
On the
else?
SRO, is that the actual, what they're being billed, is 66,000,
Uh,
67,000?
it will cover their cost and then a little bit.
Okay.
And part of that is an SRO, cause it's SRO and special services, so
Yeah.
I think that doesn't include, basketball.
Basketball and stuff like that, yeah.
Yep.
Under miscellaneous, what's the 10,000 on interest income that we haven't had before?
So, last year, or early this year, last year, the board voted to move interest income that's kind of piling up from, just our general bank account. Instead of moving that into, like the emergency fund, it's now being dropped into your revenue. It's a way to take $10,000 off the tax rate.
Okay.
And that number it may be more, it may be less, depending on how much cash we have and what the interest rate is at the bank.
sale of
Anything else?
property that, I see back in 1920, we budgeted 25, we didn't, then the actual was, we didn't have any, and then we budgeted 25,000. Now we're not proposing anything, and, I think I read somewhere, it's because we don't have any property or we didn't do any tax sales? Or something different?
Yeah, sale of property is not tax sales. This is,
Like when we sold a lot at Greenier's.
the Grainier's lot is actually what that was intended to cover. And now that that property is off our books, we don't have anything to sell.
We have nothing left to sell.
But we still made out because now we have it on tax roll.
Yes,
I
and
mean, cause we still made a few bucks on it and we cleared all the expenses off, we made a few bucks on it, and now it's back in the tax roll. And the guy has started cleaning up on top.
Yeah, yes,
I think it's gonna be a nice addition before they're done.
yeah, it's gonna be, up on top is nice.
Beautiful up there, I'll tell you, that's a nice place for a
Little
house up there.
stream coming down through.
Yeah,
So just a question, I wanna ask the stupid question here. So the town of Fairhaven owns quite a bit of property, and we're talking revenue, and I think we fall short in having enough revenue coming into this town to help offset our taxes. Is it worth looking into, do we have some property that we could sell? We have a lot of property. And again, we talked about, do you sell water, how do you get different, and it was just a thought when I looked at it, I'm saying, well, wait a minute. I know we had some land, like as you're going on Dutton Avenue, there's this little parcel that was, I think it was given to the town, this little slip of property. And I bet there's other property around. Are we,
there was some, and I know they sold it off, what was it, Bob? 7 years ago, that stuff that was down on South Side. Remember that landlocked property and we ended up with it and
Oh, that strip?
that strip, remember that?
Yeah, we sold
I
that.
mean, that's about the only thing I can remember that we had, other than like up the Greenier's property and stuff like that, but that's,
we could review the property list and see what we got sitting there.
see,
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to
I
look.
just wonder if there's some opportunity, that's all.
and then that piece of property that we had down behind the town barn, was that sold?
Behind the town barn?
Yeah, the one that was,
Siemens.
yeah, but remember that they came in because they're looking at a guy that was, it was beside a railroad track or something that the town owned. This was,
Oh.
it seems like this was last year, that was,
Yeah, no, we did not sell that.
so that's still town,
That's
so
still
that's
there.
something that could be,
Yep.
you know, I mean, like I said, you can look at the map and see what the town owns and see what would be feasible to sell.
Or a way just to generate revenue, maybe with or without selling it, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, let me dig into it. We'll find something.
Anything else?
Other than that, what are you gonna do? I mean, we can't make money.
Hope he's right.
We can't make money.
Public Works is essentially just out of curiosity, what is miscellaneous revenue? I mean, I don't think I've asked that question before.
Yeah, you see, well, that's just, so the big thing we've had lately is scrapping down there, cleaning out that
Okay.
yard. And that's what that big bump is right there in 1920, was cleaning out the yard and scrapping that metal.
Well, don't stop. Okay. Anything else? We'll vote to approve that. All right,
Need a motion?
I think so.
I'll make a motion to approve the revenue budget. Do you need the amount?
I don't need the amount, because that top number, while that is there,
It's gonna
that,
change.
yeah, I'm gonna have to make adjustments.
I'll make a motion to approve the revenue budget. for
2022.
22.
Second it?
Okay. All everybody understands there is gonna be a slight change on that, a possible change. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? Thank you. All right. Pump station upgrades, which we talked a little bit about, now we're gonna talk some more. Okay, so Aaron and the wastewater department have been, looking into, upgrades to the pump stations.
Supposed to be signed.
Some of, like Aaron said earlier, the one station, it's just been a constant battle to keep that thing running. Right now, we're paying folks to go down and make sure it's not overflowing, which is just, I mean, the man hours just to make sure that things aren't breaking down is gonna become staggering. But Aaron has, more information on this.
So we were drafting RFPs, we did have preliminary budgeting numbers for the upgrades to that. To do the controls and a backup generator, we'd be looking to the tune of budgeting $85,000. Hopefully that's high, that once we go to bid and we get the work starting to be completed, that would be lower than that. But that would include changing all the controls and wiring, or changing the control and wiring to run those pumps with all new systems, relying on nothing that is there now. As well as it's going to be the generator, that size for that is between, we had two people give us numbers between about 50 kW and a 60 kW standby generator. Those pumps down there are 25 horsepower motors. So when both of those are running, they're pulling some juice. So it's not little by any means. When you look at it, oh, that's not very big, but they do use a bit of power to run those pumps. The plan would be, is if we can find the funding for it, is to be able to go out to bid on this project, get it slated so we can do this construction during the middle of summer, late end of summer, when we're in dry season, so we don't have high flow conditions. So while we're doing these upgrades, that station is going to be running without controls for upwards of 2.5 days, where we'll have to have someone there 24/7 trying to run it manually via bypass pumping, or trying to utilize that gas motor that's sitting there to run those pumps while those new controls are all being wired in. So the failures that they're seeing now, like I said, is when they get down there, they'll find that the controls are only running one motor, even if the station needs both of them running, because it went past just running one pump and needed to run both to drag it down quick before we overflow. They get down there and it'll just be the one pump chugging away trying to do its job. Some other day it'll be, if they switch the controls to try and switch the pumps, nothing happens, or it waits for that lag pump again to come back on. And it's, for them, like I said, just a never-ending nightmare of trying to sleep through the night and hope that nothing fails, and they don't get a phone call that they have issues they need to get here in a hurry to try and remedy. This stuff, like I said, is early 2000s vintage. When that, I believe that from what research I've done and asking Mr. Heller and some of the other guys, I believe that stuff was part of the phosphorus update from the early 2000s, and all that stuff. So financially wise, and Joe has more of that information as to how we could hopefully accomplish this. Like I said, the Academy Street, that would be looking at $10,000 at most. In talking with the operators, that does not keep them up at night. That would be something we should definitely plan on budget season wise next year, somehow like that, if we weren't able to financially just get it all done. My hope is, my thought was, we're able to bid on both at the same time. Now we have all this work on the table, so hopefully that buys that price down even more, because when they come to work, they're going to be here for work for a while, not just in and out in a day or 2 days or whatever it would be. It would be, we got enough work here that we can take our price and drop it quite a bit.
So I think Aaron said he tossed a number of 85 out there?
85. That would be,
earlier in the year, last year in 2020, the board did approve to hold back some money out of the capital improvement fund for the wastewater for projects like this, but it was only like 65,000. It's not enough to cover the entire project. The money is relatively cheap right now. I don't know if we could get grants for this project, but I know loans are at 2%. It'd be about $25,000 at 2% to take out a loan to do that project.
But you're gonna look USDA and. Of course. But, yeah, it's kind of where we're sitting. There's money there, it's more work than what we originally thought it would be. So we can bring back this was more of an introduction to the board about the project. At the next meeting, we can bring back some other options, funding options.
Okay.
You got a Democratic federal government coming, maybe they'll open up the floodgates for infrastructure.
Let's hope. I'm waiting for my $2,000 check now.
You're not gonna get that.
My wife wants a new couch.
You might get your 600.
That's not enough.
600 apiece. Boy, 600 apiece.
Not enough.
Yeah, it's not for my wife.
Couches, well. So that's it for now, and you're gonna come up with some options to firm it down a little bit, but we're looking to do this in this water and sewer budget season, is that
Summer.
So
summer?
I would like to do it this summer. The way the
Okay.
budget would break out, we'd be talking 2 possible budget seasons for water sewer, correct?
For payments?
No.
Right, if we were to complete the work somewhere in midsummer, we'd fall in the middle of a budget break. possibly.
July 1, so you'd wanna do it after that anyway, so that would be,
Right.
that would be the
So
budget
it's
we're gonna.
savings realized possibly this budget year and whatever we could try and come up with for next year.
Well, I'm thinking the cash on hand is almost there. It's what, 75%. If there is a small loan or grant match to get something, I mean, we can, as the budget approaches, we can just drop that into the budget and then make payments for the next 2 years. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because the budget's coming, so we can manage the payment process.
But if you don't start the project until July 1, it's all in next, the budget that we haven't put together yet.
The other thing I know,
Correct?
Yeah, but we'll have that budget in place by the time we get there. Because we're getting ready to do the budget here in just a few months.
Yeah. Okay.
the only thing that it'll be more on Joe and my end is the lead time on these projects. The last time I spoke with the rep that we got the budget quote on is a couple months on just lead time. Once we do award a project for them to get the panels built, ready to even be able to bring them down here and start the process of switching and stuff like that.
Sure.
What I hear is it's gotta be done, so you just gotta figure it out.
Everything falls apart all at the same time now.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Okay. More to come. Soonly. DPW truck bids.
Yeah, this is exciting. Okay, so we got,
Depends on the number,
Are we making money? on
not
that?
the number of bids, but the number of bids.
maybe it's not as exciting. So we got 10 bids.
No, thank
We got 10 bids for the truck. Our high bid for this piece of equipment is $7,569.
Which truck is this?
Yay.
The 2006 F-350 flatbed.
Is that a reasonable bid? Yes. Okay.
That was way more than I thought we would get.
I thought you were talking about 2,000 something.
No.
Yeah,
you. It is double.
sold.
Well, who bought it?
So just-
Who's the lucky camper?
So this young man, I just met him, his name is Jamie Provo, and he is from Castleton.
Yep. He is.
Originally from Fairhaven.
Yep.
Nice guy.
So you're looking for, do we need a motion to?
How close were the bids?
Oh, our low bid, I'm not gonna tell you who the low bid was, but that was at $22,801.
2,200. 2,200,
I almost can guarantee I know.
yeah, not to 22,000.
I almost know who that was.
Yeah, no, you know who that is.
And who, and the next one underneath the 7,500, what was that?
Oh, we got the next bid was $6,526.
Okay.
Couple of 5,000s, 3,500s. Yeah.
Quite a few bids.
So,
So-
motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the high bid of $7,569 for the sale of the DPW truck.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Mr. Provo has a truck. Yep. Knows he has some money.
Is there a time limit on picking the truck up or paying for it or anything like that?
Yeah, so the truck, can't be picked up just yet. The new truck's supposed to be in last I heard, next week.
Hopefully, it's supposed to be hopefully being completed at the builders this week. With the timeframe, I would put out there the end of next week is still a chance, but I'm hoping on it.
So, next week.
No, what I'm saying is if, even when it's, okay, next week if it's, can be picked up, is there a time frame on how long he has to pay for it before he picks it up?
No, cash and carry.
I know, but is there a time frame on he has to come up with the money? That's what I guess I'm trying to say.
Not
Oh,
2 months from now.
I
that's
see what
he's
you
trying to
mean.
say.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
You know what, if the board wanted to put a limit on it of a month, cause yeah, sometimes that does happen.
Yeah.
We did this with a property that people said, hey, I wanna buy it, and then they didn't, so we went to the next bidder, so, you guys wanna put a month on it?
4
Well, I
weeks
think-
sounds reasonable.
I think you should do something. I just feel you should put something on it.
I recommend that whatever timeframe you put on it be after the delivery of
Because,
the truck.
right, until you get the new truck, you don't know.
Just,
That's what we'll do, we'll let them know it's a month after delivery of the new truck when you get it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There we go.
Can I get a request and a motion if possible?
What?
I have a request. Can the board move that $7,569 into the DPW equipment fund?
Yeah, when we get it.
I'm sorry?
When we get it.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion for that. When we get it.
Second? Second?
Second it.
But it's not, I think what Jay is saying, it's not appropriate right now, because we don't have it
We
yet.
don't
have it, yeah.
We can't
You're
move.
you're approving, what if he doesn't
You're
come up with
approving
money
money.
and it goes to the second bidder? Then it's less money, but you still approve.
Whatever the-
That $7,500.
It's the same process though.
Okay. We can wait.
Well, let's
I
make
was
the
just
motion,
trying to-
let's make the motion this way. Let's make the motion
Upon receipt.
upon receipt of the money for the 2006 truck, that it goes into the reserve fund for truck, for the equipment, DBW.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Isn't that, I mean, that's.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
that's
he
fair.
wants.
DPW Reserve Fund,
All those in favor?
Equipment Reserve.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Done.
I just don't wanna forget.
Okay. Parking lot stuff, anything in there that tickles your fancy? Have you had any, I'll ask you, have you had any, response, or have you questioned the core zoning reg update?
Yeah, I talked to Phil it might have been last week or the week before. I need to reach out to Dave Amy, who is the chair, and no, I haven't talked to him about this yet.
If anybody sees Dave, ask him.
Yeah, we're sending my way.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just don't wanna get caught like we did with the town planner. Anything else?
Oh, yeah, we still have that letter from, or is that in executive session.
That's
That's exact, okay.
Okay. All right, board roundtable, Carol?
I got a couple things. I heard from a town member, Joe, it sounded maybe like it was the same person with what you brought up about their dismay about having, was it the same person? I told you the address. So I don't know, but I heard the exact same comments, and they know there's nothing that can be done about it, but I said I would bring it here. They're just unhappy, they don't have town, water, sewer, plowing, and having to pick up the expense of that. Number two, this is more of a question. The town report, I had been working the past couple weeks on the dedication page. Actually, my sister is the one that laid it out. It looks nice. And she said, how come you don't offer the townspeople a way to get it electronically? They do that out at the college. It saves a lot of money because you print about 25% of what you have, and you have people sign up on the town page. It may be too late for this year, but I think it's a good idea for the future. Save paper, save money.
Sure.
People can, so put that on your little tickler, Joe. And then the other thing I didn't want to fall off, things to do is if we're gonna decide on having Citizen of the Year, to keep that, I know it may be tough this year because we don't know with COVID if we're even gonna be able to have a town celebration, but we should think about the process. So do we nominate someone? Do we ask for nominations? Can you keep that on the parking lot maybe, Joe, so we just don't forget about it?
We can drop that in there.
That's it.
It would be nice, I was thinking that, when this finally breaks, even a potluck supper in the middle of the park would be,
Oh, that'd be fun,
you
yeah.
know,
Yep.
just something, just a blowout.
We're free.
Yeah, exactly. So, that could be part of it. Okay,
Yeah, on this list of appointments, who eliminated the town agent?
The state,
The state did.
yeah, this
Okay.
is the state, they stripped it right out of there.
Okay, now, on the bottom it says the grand juror, that used to always be voted on. Is that still have to be voted on, or is that the board will appoint it?
I think we vote on that.
Because that was always on the ballot, because you used to have to get, you used to get a petition for both of them.
Let me reach out to Suzanne, because I forget what we talked about, but I think that one was also eliminated or has become optional to add.
Okay, because it does say optional here.
Yeah, so if the board decides not to do that, whoever is in that position now,
It's on here for grand juror for 1 year,
yeah, so if the
and
board,
town agent for 1 year.
the town agent will have to come off.
Okay.
But there's a lot of optional appointments that the Fairhaven has that they don't have to do, so, I know fence viewer's one of them.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Claire's been doing a wonderful job
Yeah.
with fence viewing.
I'm sorry?
I think you've been doing a wonderful job as a fence viewer all these years.
You know, I did get a call once.
No kidding.
See, on this town agent and grand juror, I always thought that it was a keg that's gonna blow up. Because you're hiring somebody's being voted in, and legally, they can come in here and start doing town work. And I've always thought that it's a situation that could really go against the town. So my feeling is, if the town agent is one that can be eliminated, or wasn't, I say we get rid of both.
Yeah.
That's my
I agree with
feelings.
you.
That's my feelings. I just, because I just think it's it could blow up in our face.
Yeah, I think they were back when people didn't necessarily need a lawyer for everything that was
Yeah.
done.
And-
That's not the case now.
And then the other thing is, back again on the general, the voter approval on the paving, that still shows $100,000.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so
Cause I
Jenny
know,
said that,
she said she's gonna take care of it, but I just,
yeah, let me get
I
it.
don't wanna lose it in the process and have it still on there.
Sure.
That's about it. I just wanna tell the guys, the town crew, that they've done a good job. I think you've even done a good job trying to take care of the sidewalks. They seem to be out where people can at least use them. So.
I was gonna ask to say something again, love fest for you, Aaron. I'm very impressed with the way you handle yourself. You're prepared, you have great knowledge of things, and I just think it's impressive.
Well, nobody can say that the roads aren't taken care of, because, you know, I've been out late, riding around when you guys have been out, and I haven't seen anything, even that big storm. There was never a time you couldn't have got through town, or a fire truck couldn't have got someplace in town, or the ambulance. And I think that's a credit to you and your crew. That's all I got.
Thank you. Glenn?
I have nothing.
Jeff?
All set.
And me as well. Let's do financial reports.
Motion to pay the general fund warrant, $57,382.62.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Motion to pay the payroll warrant, $27,325.15.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
None those opposed? Thank you. Checkbook
And
set.
$117,104.
No sense?
No cents today.
All right. All right. So that concludes, we do have an executive session. Make that motion. Yep,
I'll
please.
make the motion to go into executive session for, union and manager contract, 1 BSA 313A3.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll go into executive session as soon as we can clear the